Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Esselstyn. I asked you what recipes you think would be the best for preventing and reversing heart disease.
Whole food, plant-based nutrition.
And that's what we have here. It's all beautiful colors. I'm going to make a delicious sweet potato chili with one of your favorite ingredients.
Kale.
Do you have a pressure cooker at home? This is the Instant Pot. It's my very favorite electric pressure
You'd
cooker.
have to ask my wife.
Okay. Well, hopefully she'll be on the show soon and we can actually ask her. So we're going to start with 3 cups of fresh squeezed orange juice, 2 pounds of organic sweet potatoes. I didn't peel these because they're organic and there's a lot of fiber and nutrients in the skin. Please feel free to help me out any way you can. I've got 3 cups of kidney beans, and you can use canned. I prefer to use salt-free if I use cans. But once you get an electric pressure cooker, you can cook beans very, very quickly. A red onion, chopped, just like the flavor of red onion. 2 red bell peppers, chopped. Tomatoes. These are fire-roasted, salt-free tomatoes. 2 cans. And the spices. Tablespoon of salt-free chili powder, 2 teaspoons smoked paprika. Smoked makes a difference. And I like it a little spicy, half a teaspoon of chipotle powder. This is so easy, you could do this. We already know you're a gourmet cook. I already know you already know how to cook. You make the most delicious oatmeal breakfast any doctor has ever made. I'm going to show you, it's so easy to use an Instant Pot. Even my husband knows how to do it. It's going to make a little beeping noise to tell us that we've got the pot on correctly. And all you do is just push one button. I'm pushing this button called manual. I'm going to put on about 7 minutes of time. There we go. I mean, you've done surgery. How hard could this be, right?
Well, Anne will not be able to believe how smart I've gotten.
So, how important is the food to the prevention and reversal of heart disease?
The truth be known, heart disease is nothing more than a toothless paper tiger that need never, ever exist. And if it does exist, it need never, ever progress. This is a completely benign, foodborne illness. Now, the point that I think we want to make about this is that, you know, it's so important that people recognize that there are certain foods that every time they cross our lips, we take a hit. And it's not a very big one, and the body's very resilient. So any injury we get from this food, you know, you don't really feel it.
Right.
You don't feel it when you're 10 years old, 15 years old, 17, 35. Now, with these accumulated hits, these accumulated injuries, the body begins to lose ground. And then we as physicians define these accumulated hits as it may be hypertension, high blood pressure, it may be diabetes, it may be heart disease, it may be strokes, it may even be cancer. And so it's so important, I think, to conceptualize, get across to the idea to people that even though they don't feel the injury, there is injury. And now we should talk next, what are the foods that cause this injury?
It's the foods that most Americans are eating most of their calories from, I bet.
Absolutely. For instance, my dad had his first heart attack at age 43. By 63, he was type 2 diabetic. By 69, he had metastatic prostate cancer. My dad was an absolute living fossil of the ravages of Western nutrition. And there are certain foods that we should mention that are being avoided here today. For instance, the foods that injure are, for instance, oil.
Right.
Oil will injure the lining of your artery, whether it's olive oil, corn oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, coconut oil, palm oil in a cracker.
People
oil
just believe
in
it's
bread.
such a health food. People believe that olive oil, they believe olive oil is heart healthy. We don't use any oil at all on this show.
Oil in a salad dressing, so we eliminate oil for these patients. Same thing is true of meat.
Oh, well, wait a minute. You know what that beep means?
Something else is ready.
That's right. The chili that we made earlier is ready. Now, I don't want you to be scared, Dr. Esselstyn, but it's so easy to release the pressure on this Instant Pot. You just push the slow knob like that. Now, you know, I teach at a lot of spas, and they give you these facials for several $100s. But look, with an Instant Pot, you can get a facial for free. All these antioxidants from the beans and the tomatoes. I like to put the greens in at the end because otherwise they get too wilted.
Yeah.
So the idea is as much greens as you can. Don't you think we're supposed to eat these about 6 times a day? Isn't that what I heard you once say? If possible.
Well, they're so magnificent for their antioxidant properties, their properties to bring back the endothelial progenitor cells, which are so key in this whole process. They do just wonderful things for all the natural sort of defense mechanisms of the body that really protect our vascular system. There's nothing that can beat the green leafy vegetables
So
for this.
if it's really true what you say, and I believe you, that you can not only prevent heart disease but largely reverse it with a whole food plant-based diet, why isn't it being treated this way?
Well, there's a lot of problems, and it really basically starts, believe it or not, with our medical schools.
Wow.
Because the medical schools are not teaching physicians really anything about nutrition.
What about your colleagues that say, oh, I can't get my patients to eat this way?
You know, I'm so glad you asked that question. That really has to do with what we call adherence. Now,
Who wouldn't eat this? This is beautiful. And
Right.
it's delicious.
if you're going to get somebody to make a change, change next to religion and sex is probably nothing as personal as food. And if you're going to have somebody really change their food and understand that the food is what's caused their disease, you've got to show them respect if you expect them to change. We have a program at the Wellness Institute that I direct, where we know that patients, since 85% of them come from outside the state of Ohio, that they can't stay there for days at a time. So we have synthesized a very intensive single-day, 5.5-hour seminar where these patients with cardiovascular disease are going to learn all about what they did that created the disease and how they can become empowered as the locus of control to halt and to reverse this disease.
We know that heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women, but was it always that way in this country?
Well, interesting. As long as we've really been looking at this in the last 30, 40, 50 years, there's no question that cardiovascular disease has been the leading killer of men and women in Western civilization. And that's very discouraging when you think that, sadly, the cardiovascular medicine is really now turned into a cardiovascular industry because it now accounts for over 45% of Medicare, and it's the entitlements that are pulling this country into debtor's prison because we have not yet absolutely shown the public what they can do to halt and eliminate these common chronic killing diseases, whether it's heart disease, whether it's strokes, whether it's hypertension, whether it's diabetes. These diseases absolutely we don't have to have. And the resolution of them is so ridiculously simplistic. By sharing with the public what is the nutritional literacy that will allow them to prevent themselves from ever having these illnesses.
So to sum it up, we want to tell everyone, prevent, not stent, and eat your greens.
You got it. You got it.
Let me know how you like the chili, Dr. Esselstyn.
Sure.
It's got all the ingredients that you said were the sweet potato chili with kale.
Dynamite.
Thank
Just
you.
dynamite.
Thank you so much.